So, kind of interesting transition here from national security back to e-commerce.
I hope it doesn't say anything about me that you.
Well, it says actually there are kind of a lot of things about your story that are very relevant. And I want to pick up actually from where Dan Schulman left off earlier, because he kind of teed your story up just about perfectly when he talked about the crumbling of the barriers between online and offline commerce. But also, more particularly, he talked about the need to level the playing field for small to mid-sized merchants. And as far as I understand, that's what you're really trying to do at X.Commerce.
Absolutely.
So maybe kind of tell us a little bit about just what is it. We heard about it from John Donahoe yesterday, but I'd love to have you drill down a little bit more, talk about your developer story, and just really what is it that you're offering and why.
Yeah. So if we look at X.Commerce, fundamentally it's an open commerce ecosystem. Within there's the notion of an open commerce operating system. And the recognition was that with the technology horizon advancing faster and faster all the time, merchants simply couldn't keep up.
You mean Amazon can't keep up, or you mean...
I would say people who are spending, say, sub $250 million on technology R&D. I mean, a classic retailer. So if we look at those retailers and just the amount that they're spending, imagine this explosion. If they miss on any one point, social, local, mobile, digital, if they miss, they're missing a massive amount of their clientele because the adoption of technology by the consumers is with or without a merchant. So if you look at it from a necessity, they need a technology partner who's not competing against them, on which they can build and on which they can extend.
So you're talking about everything from sort of mom and pop storefront up through $100 million companies who are saying, we've got to compete in this online world. We've perhaps been pretty successful offline, but we really just don't know how to do this online thing. And you're basically saying, okay, we're bringing a set of assets to you to level the playing field.
Yeah, and I would go beyond just a set of assets, and I would say a developer network. So we have over 800,000 folks in our developer community worldwide. So when you're looking at it, it's not just a retailer needing the basis of technology. It's not just needing the spend. But when a developer wakes up in the morning, oftentimes they're not dreaming of working in a retail shop as a technologist. So bringing this open network of developers to these merchants so they can partner with them and extend past the horizon to create a differentiated product or a differentiated customer experience, that ends up being hugely important to these merchants.
Maybe you can just unpack a little bit what it is that X.Commerce offers. I'm a merchant, and I want to kind of figure out what I'm going to do next to take advantage of it. What am I going to do? You bought Magento, you bought Milo, you bought Red Laser,
Song,
PayPal.
Milo.
You have all these different pieces, but how do they all come together in X.Commerce?
Right. So there's two major products that we have within X.Commerce. The first one is Magento, which is a storefront. It's open source. It has a massive developer community behind it.
Something like 5,000 apps.
Yes, so right around, actually, we just clocked 5,000 applications or extensions. And then if you look at the other, it's a fabric, so we call it the X.Commerce fabric. Think of it as like a message bus meets an integration framework. And this allows people to publish their technology and then pick it up, oftentimes through Magento, but literally any other marketplace is welcome to join in, again, from the open perspective. So this allows the technologists...
Let me stop you a little bit here, Matthew. This sounds like features. Tell me about benefits. Like I'm a merchant. What makes what gives me the leverage out of what you've got?
Okay, so let's take the original question, and we'll exemplify that. So you said, what happens with this notion of online and offline?
I want to sell to somebody. How do you help me increase my my revenue?
Pre-smartphone. If we go back, say, 5 years, a merchant was either on Main Street or 2 blocks off, and the 2 blocks off would be 1/10 of the volume of Main Street, because everything was about location, and it was the whole location, location, location. Now with the innovation, if you have a smartphone and Milo, with the notion of a geofence, you could actually encapsulate all of Main Street and advertise to anybody walking down. Now you can start putting offers into their hand. You can let them know where the store is. And for me personally, walking through, with a map, trying to orient it, if I'm in a kitschy small town even, it's a difficult thing. But now that there's maps integrated in, a local offer comes, you're there on the main street.
So it's
drawing
local offers,
Absolutely.
local comparison shopping.
And directions to the store that are walking directions, optimized for you. I mean, it takes that process out. And literally, with the right combinations of assets, the local merchant can think of the entire city as their storefront. But you can only do that if you're able to program it, if you're able to start looking at the consumer behavior in that, take that information, and then put it into these various channels.
So your vision is to help us get away from a world in which it's dominated by a few very large online retailers.
I just can't imagine. It's such a boring world.
Right.
I mean, to me, the main street, when you're walking down and you're surprised by things, that serendipitous experience, that to me is hugely fun. That's the vibrancy of commerce. If all I did in the morning was wake up, I put my clothes on, and it said, hey, everything's shopped for you. We know exactly who you are. We knew what you're going to buy anyway. There it is on your doorstep. What would I do with my time? I mean, shopping is a huge entertainment form for so many people. It's a social component. It creates hobbies. The actions of shopping for something.
That's always been an aspect of eBay, the game-like quality of it versus, say, going to Amazon where you know what you want to buy and just want to bang, get it now. Any success stories so far?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Soccer Pro, just right down the street. Redwood City. Here's a company that was really struggling. Carlos and Norma, this couple, 5 children living paycheck to paycheck. So we went in and we did what we called an extreme makeover and brought them online. And literally, we had to help them with the inventory management because it created such a tilt in their business. They didn't have the funds to be able to manage the orders. So when you look at the ability to go online, take into conceptualization, here's a local merchant, an independent retailer, who now has multi-channel to different marketplaces, has orders coming in from Australia, has the capability of having Milo so that as people are driving by, if they're looking for a soccer item, they can find it in his store. He was not on the map at all. And this is something that was brought up in literally just a couple of days.
So couldn't he have listed his stuff on eBay in the past or on Amazon Marketplace?
Yeah, who has the time for that? So imagine yourself, again, you're struggling just paycheck to paycheck.
So this makes it all much simpler.
Oh, absolutely. And so again, we go back to that fabric.
So how does it make it simpler?
Publishes one item, and any marketplace that wants to consume it to surface that inventory and offer can do so. Again, pub-sub model. So he puts his inventory out just in one place where he's managing it, which is the context of managing a store. And now the fabric allows it to go off into any different marketplace out there. So when he starts looking at it from, again,
including Amazon?
If they want to sign up, absolutely, they're welcome to come aboard.
Okay, that's interesting. So I want to sort of switch just a little bit to talk about PayPal Access. Because it seems to me, we have this big thread through all the discussions on the web today about social. And a key component of social is identity. And payment is one of the strongest forms of identity around there. I mean, we think about when you're asked to present ID, you present a government ID, and you present your credit card.
Sure.
And so, how are you guys thinking about identity and payment as an identity network?
Yeah. So we absolutely look at it as complementary to elements like social IDs. But when we look at the experience for a merchant, we take it in that context. The holy grail for a merchant is a first customer experience. They walk into the store, they're given a great deal, they're given a discount. People will lose money on that first experience if it sets up a long-time customer. On the internet, that wasn't possible because every form of identity.
Sure it was. I mean, Amazon has made a career out of investing below cost to acquire customers who they then monetize over time. Netflix, same thing.
Allow me to say differently. For Carlos, it wouldn't have been possible.
Okay.
So if we look at a store that doesn't have the sophisticated data analytics.
So that is part of what you're offering then is this persistent identity that allows you to build a longitudinal relationship with a customer when you're a small merchant.
I mean, you can finally say welcome to your customer before you know who they are. You can have the security knowing up to a payments identification that this person's unique. And in PayPal, it's extremely difficult. I mean, we do so much to know your customer that, again, I can't imagine a better identification on the planet online to tell somebody this is one person and they're not coming back from a different means. there's absolutely no way that you could game the system from a technology perspective where you're trying to generate counts automatically. That just simply doesn't happen within the PayPal ecosystem. So now you're giving that wonderful advantage to the merchants, along with the capability of having a commerce profile. So imagine as developers can start adding assets to this, basically linking in data. Now I can share my size. I'm a 3428 for the record. I could pop that in, and I don't want to see other pants. And if they don't have these ones available...
So is this going to get added into like a PayPal profile, various characteristics of you as a shopper?
We'll call it, PayPal Access customer profile, but it's something, again, that I can put that information in there.
Does it just accrue over time, or is it manual? So for example, I buy things and you notice my size, or do I actually have to specify it?
When we release it in this next year, I'll have it aggregate, and it'll be your choice. Again, PayPal never shares information about you, but you can choose to put it in there and make it available to
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you do switch once you start using a service like that from, they're sharing information about me, to, oh, damn, why aren't they sharing that information about me? I don't want to fill out that form again.
The last thing you want to do is go through and put in your address and all these things. And really, so much of preferences are the same way. My physical shape, I'm not growing any taller than I am right now today. So to be able to just go into a store and have all the inventory there customized for me optimizes my shopping experience.
That's right. So you'll basically get data to fit your frame.
Absolutely.
It's a bad joke. I should have not gone there.
Let's stick to my weight. It's safer.
Yeah. Talk to me about adoption. I mean, how do you see the adoption curve for you? Is it driven by consumers, by merchants, by eBay's existing customer base, by PayPal's existing customer base? How are you going to turn this on?
So the demand curve was shocking. We announced it last week at Innovate, and the line is now longer than we can process. So you have to validate that the merchant is a valid merchant as if they were a...
This is the merchant line.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the merchants, if they look at it, reduction of friction equals growth of commerce mathematically.
Yeah.
If you reduce a frame, it's absolutely proven that you reduce friction, you increase sales.
Sure. I remember, actually, I heard this from Osama, who your former colleague who's now over at Google. He says, the reason why people take different forms of payment is to increase sales.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is, in fact, the key goal there.
So the nice part is we've added down to 2 chunks of JavaScript that you add into your site, and then we're working on optimizing it so you only have to log into PayPal one time.
Oh, good. That's very good.
That's coming forward. Yeah. So the early adopters are willing to use it just to reduce the time frame. If you go to tinypay.me, they used it for account creation. Nearly 2 clicks and you have an account on their site. Information's provided, much simpler format.
Speaking of 2 clicks, is 1 click in your way on this?
There has to be an allow, and there has to be which information you're sharing.
Yeah, and actually, I have to say, with Amazon, realistically, they do go 2 clicks a lot of the time because they've got to verify you anyway.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I think we're out of time, but I'm excited about this because I've always been a fan of the little guy, and I've been worried about what's happening to Main Street. It's been happening for years and years with, big retail chains and then online, and I watched it in, the publishing industry, for example, as bookstores disappeared. It's not... there's absolutely fantastic advantages to online and big online retailers, but it'd be great if we could get some of the benefits of both.
Yeah, the teaser trailer will be, we look forward to opening up the data as well, because I think first technology, and then how do you help the small guy with the data.
Good luck to you, and I hope you get lots more developers working on this.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So...